Good evening, viewers, and welcome to The Price of Fame. My name is Lunga Tshuka, and I'll be your host. So, The Price of Fame is a podcast that focuses on the real stories about the journey to success, from the moment of the realization of one's gift or purpose. And in these conversations, we aim to shed the light on the hardships, the sacrifice, and the mindset that our guests have to overcome to achieve their current position in their career. These are their stories. So tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, has had many names to describe him. Names like jazz legend, a musical genius, a cheerful composer, a musician, and a writer. With his music experience really starting at the age as early as 3 years old, he learned how to play about 15 conventional and indigenous instruments, which he's been doing internationally for over 4 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the screen the very talented Mr. Hilton Schilder. Good evening, sir.
How
How
you
are you
doing?
doing, sir?
Good, thanks.
Well, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for being a guest on the Price of Fame. Like I said, it's really an honor to have you on the show. I've heard so much about you. I've done my own little research, and wow, you are really everything what they say about you. You are truly a musical genius. And also, thank you for the tribute that you sent me. I got it immediately the moment you said yes to the show. You sent that tribute, and I was like, wow, that really meant so much. So, I mean, a guy from your caliber, sending someone to me like who's still trying to look up to people, is trying to still find his way, and for you to look down and actually make that time. So, thank you so much for that.
I love your work, man.
Thank you so much. Awesome, awesome. All right. So tonight's going to be a very interesting night. We're going to get into your story. I know you just had probably a glimpse over the questions, but we want to find out who the real Mr. Hilton is. We want to find out what is it that made you this amazing person that you are today. We want to find out all the steps, the hardships, the sacrifices, and all the gains as well. And we're hoping to learn from your story and most of all be inspired by your story. So let's have some fun tonight. Are you good for that?
Yeah, really.
Okay, so I have some personal questions that I actually put on the side here that I really would like to know. So like I've said in the intro that you've been doing music, your music experience started since the age of 3 years old, right? And you load some indigenous instruments and you also know some conventional instruments. So with your experience, through jazz, seeing it grow, from the back in the day, how it grew up in all the days and what it looks like today. With your experience, what would your own version of a jazz festival be like, or your perfect jazz event? What would that look like for you? A little bit of the old, a little bit of the new. Please describe to us what would be the most ideal jazz experience that you would create for someone.
Oh well, jazz has um, so many sub branches to it. You know what I mean? It's not
Okay.
just one thing. So I would love to see all the different kinds of jazz come together, as well as the world music. You know, the music from around the world that can be called jazz as well. You know what I mean? Uh, uh, uh,
Yes.
yeah, like indigenous music. You know, the music of the people, the so-called
Yes.
folk music. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to see that happening on the jazz festival instead of the usual stuff. But of course, it's got to be represented in all its forms. We have the people that come from the bebop, the bebop jazz guys, the modern, the avant-garde, the fusion. It's so many
Yeah.
different genres, and there's so many different people representing them. There's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
uh, the kids today are actually discovering. They're going back and they're discovering the old stuff. It's
Okay.
come out in a big way now. I can hear the kids are all playing Coltrane and so they still got to. That's the American stuff. What I would like the people to do is to get into the composers from here, from this
Yeah.
continent. We've got incredible composers from here, and
Absolutely.
just among those are here in the Cape. There's a couple of wonderful composers and
Yeah.
writers. because that's what I've been into my whole life. When I was 3 years old, I mean, you touched on it briefly. You won't believe it. That's actually the time that I decided that I didn't want to do anything else. I looked at my dad. I saw he played the piano. My mom was a teacher and an artist, and
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do my whole life. I wanted to do music and art, and that's all
yeah,
I've done my whole life. I've never ever really worked for a boss, stuff like that. I've always chosen my own path, and I've had lots of encouragement along the way. I grew up in a very musical family. Uh, um, you know, artistic as well. Was always
yes,
surrounded by wonderful musicians and artists and crazy people. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We were always like that. I grew up in the early '60s.
mm,
Uh, uh, in Wynberg briefly, and then we moved to Lotus River, which is on the Cape Flats. Yeah, well,
yeah.
Cape Flats. But
Wow.
yeah, so I've kind of pursued that dream. I've never strayed from the path. Of course, you get sidetracked along the way. You get all these uh, uh, um, influences. Drugs and sex
Distraction.
and
Yes, yes, yes.
you know what I mean. And you eventually come out on the other side, battered, bruised, but still intact. I had a brush with cancer in 2010.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with cancer, and well, it's 11 years, 12 years, almost 12 years later. I'm still going. Uh, uh, minus minus a couple of organs. You know what I mean? I got some organs missing, but still,
Yeah.
I'm keeping I'm trying to live a very a healthy lifestyle. Like
Absolutely.
I don't drink anymore as much as I
Yeah.
used to. I have an occasional glass of red wine, or, shot of whiskey, but I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
What I do is lots of weed. I mean, uh,
To ease it out. To
yeah,
ease it out.
but in all forms. Edibles,
Yeah.
CBD oil, moringa is actually that my lifesaver.
Yeah.
Moringa.
Yes. There's a
That's
huge medicinal side to it as well, you know?
Yes, my friend Jay is sitting here with me, and he's Mr. Moringa. He doesn't like that name. But
Actually,
yeah,
met him.
you met, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. He came to my
Yeah,
show at my show in 2019 when I did my comedy special. He was at the show there. And he was one of the brands who sponsored a little gift in the gift bag as well with his moringa. So I'm well aware of
man.
his moringa products. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'm a firm believer in that. I think that's what's keeping me alive. Between the
Yes.
moringa and the other stuff I'm taking.
Yeah.
And of course,
Absolutely.
without being anal about it, I just watch what I just watch what I eat as well. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, for those viewers who are tuning in right now who are not aware of moringa, please do your research on moringa. I will drop a link drop a link in the comments about moringa, especially in a time like this where we are facing this COVID and you need to keep your immune strong. Moringa is actually superfoods and probably something that you want to take every single day, apart with all of your other things that you're taking. So I will drop a link on Moringa in the comment section. Guys, please check it out if you really are serious about boosting your immune system and about that superfoods. Moringa is the way to go. All right, here's a really question. There's a question that's been burning that I really want to get into, especially when I found out that you learned about the indigenous instruments as well. Now I know if we go that deep, with music, things tend to get a little spiritual, then you started to get a little spiritual side of music and the spiritual experience. And also with the type of music that you play, it's almost like you're going into like a spiritual trance, where you just let it go. Could you please describe your spiritual experience with learning music? When did it hit you when you were like, okay, this is more than music? This is actually more than what I thought it was. This is something else that is coming outside of me, or this is something else that I'm connecting with. Could you explain that experience with us?
It all stems down to when I was a child. When I was making that, I heard something when I was a little child, I heard it, and I've been searching for that sound, and I've kind of found it along the way. You know, when I started discovering the mouth bow, you know, that's about. It was before I got married. I've been married now for 39 years. So it was before I got married. Like, I found a bow somewhere in East London.
Mm.
It was just a crudely made bow with a little gourd on it. Strange sound. I tightened it up. It was dusty, lying in an old antique shop there, you know, but something called me to it, you know. And then I found if I took the, you know, and of course with drawings and the stuff that I'd seen of people. But I mean, that was my experience with finding this instrument. I instinctively put it into my mouth and started playing it with a stick, and I got a sound, and that's when I got into it, you know. And then I met some amazing people along the way that helped, that actually uh, uh, builds these bows, you know. There's a guy called Ben Peterson. He was in London for a long time, and he's from here. And he's the first guy that kind of made all these amazing bows, mouth bows. If you got time, I can give you a little demonstration.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
One thing on the instrument.
I completely forgot to bring it in front. Yeah, so yeah, that was it's called a taru or the ngora, but it's basically a mouth bow.
Yeah,
it's this one.
I was putting that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what it sounds like.
This instrument, just give you an idea of the sound.
Wow.
You see that it gets deeper and deeper. And the further you go into it, the more it calls you. Say, I have to kind of cut it off, you know. Before we do the whole program, just me playing the bow, you know.
Yeah. I mean, just that little sample that you gave now, my goosebumps are standing up. If the goosebumps are strong enough, my hair would actually stand up straight. But yeah, that what you just played now sounded very like trance, like almost like a spiritual trance kind of thing, you know, like almost like chanting music, you know. I could hear clapping, la, 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 you know, that going in the background. That would fit so perfectly with that music. So that's why I was asking, like, is there like a spiritual connection, like with this kind of music? Like when you get into the trance, do you plan what you're gonna play, or do you just get carried away?
There are patterns that I play, but sometimes the instrument actually takes over and tells you what to, you know, to taste to you, you know, depending where you touch it and that. So it's to do with instinct, complete instinct, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Madosini, you know, Madosini, where we do something together. She's a bow player from the Eastern Cape, Mama Madosini. Okay. Yeah. And we have a group called Amatongo. And with Amatongo, yeah. With Johnny Blundell and Pedro Sanchez, Esper Sanchez, and Madosini and Lungiso Plachis. So yes. We haven't gigged for a long time, but she plays the mkhube, which is the small version of this. It comes from the Eastern Cape. The mkhube and the uhadi. Uhadi is the big one with the gourd on. And we find that after, when we have a rehearsal, we don't have a rehearsal, we just get together and play.
Yeah.
And after that, we are so chilled and high and relaxed, So it's definitely got to do all to do with your chakras, your different energy.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, you guys just get into some kind of like spiritual frequency where you guys just know where it's happening, you know where to catch each other, and just like the thing is actually like I've seen a DVD once, a documentary on Sound City. I think it's called Sound City. Now, in this one section, they describe the feel. Now, what they just talk about the feel is that when, for example, when everyone just walks into the studio, you don't have a plan, you just like, let's just jam. The drummer
Mm.
starts playing. The other
Yeah.
guy comes with the bass in, and the guy picks up the trumpet. Next thing you know, you have a whole song going on, and no one said anything. You come in this, you play that. It's just a matter of a feeling that you guys just connect with, and then you know when to take it down. You know when this one's gonna do a solo. You know when there's a drop, and then you just feel okay. This is our time to bring it down. Can you describe?
Improvisation is the same thing as what we're talking about, connecting spiritually, and of course it takes practice to be able to do that as well. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
You have to practice, and that's the thing with music or any of the arts. The more you apply yourself to it, the better you become at it. Or the more adept you become at it. You can't like get better and better. That's why I don't believe in judging art. You know what I mean? In competitions and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like who's to judge my art? You know what I mean? Only I can.
Absolutely.
If I think it's
Yeah.
shit, other people might think it's cool.
Yes.
Uh, so what are we talking about? We're talking about the
The feel.
connection about practice.
Yes.
Applying yourself to your instrument, which is very important. The only way to play an instrument is to get one. Is
Yes.
to get one and look at it. You don't have to touch it; just look at it. Someday you're going to take that thing and it's going to call you and say, "Come and play me," or you can hang
Yeah.
it on the wall. But
Yeah.
get the instrument you want to play, just get it and keep it.
Yeah.
Practice, get a teacher just to show you the basics, and then you're on your own, because
Yeah.
you have to find your own voice. You see, always have to find your own voice with music and composition and art. You gotta find your own. Yeah.
I've done actually, like I've always pictured myself playing the blues, with an electrical guitar. I don't know, it's called a Squire. So actually went and I bought myself a Squire. I got my pick and everything. I can't play. I just have it in my room. Just reminding me one day
Okay.
I'm gonna pick up and
Play.
I'm gonna learn.
I'm
Yeah,
telling
one
you,
day
you're gonna play.
learn, and I'm just gonna put myself in that zone because I just see myself and just playing the blues, and just being in the zone just by myself, and just to
So
entertain
what you
myself. So
do,
I bought it, I just put it
get a
there, and
book
I'm
of
like, one day
chords.
sorry,
Just get a book of guitar chords. Get a book of
yeah,
guitar chords. Have a look at it. It shows you where to put your fingers. Learn the names of the chords. You can start just in one key. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's how you start. Listen to albums that are blues guitarists, stuff like
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? But there's
yes.
always a way, bro. There's always a way.
Look, we're gonna stay in contact because you're gonna have to send me some people that I need to look up to and listen to because I really wanna pick it up and start getting into the
I'll
music.
get
And I'm sure you know the people who have the most juicy music and the most authentic sounds. So
you.
yeah, definitely stay in contact for that.
Yeah.
So like this is so amazing. I like the whole feel thing and like just to understand it because and like you're saying, it doesn't always just happen. Sometimes if people are not connected to each other and you're just in your own zone, you might
Yeah.
miss the feel that's going around. It's more of like knowing your instrument and knowing, okay, I
Mm.
see there's a gap for me now, jump in there, and once everyone comes together, it becomes one original sound, and sometimes people actually create songs like that, instead of writing it out, this is where you're going to come, they're like, let's just feel it out, and then if you come up with something magic, you probably keep it. How many of those have you actually kept? And how many albums that you actually that like dropped it, released in your journey?
Oh, now I'm on my 43rd album now.
Woo! 43 albums. Wow, it's amazing.
This is going to be 44 now. This we just completed another album called the Hilton Schilder Club, Volume 1. You know,
Yes.
I have all these young players playing with me. It's beautiful. At this stage in my life, I wanted to get together a group of young people, you know, instead of my peers, you know. I wanted to get a group of young people together and play, what to say, the music that the people haven't even heard, the stuff
Yes,
of mine
yes.
that haven't heard before, you know. I want to get into the whole Kuma vibe, you know, the stuff that we grew up with, taking it from the street into all the different like you know into the hotels, into the penthouses, into the you
Yes.
know so-called serious music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's actually a force to be reckoned with. Guma, Guma music
Yeah.
is this music that comes from the streets of Cape Town, but it's also a drum. So the
Mm,
basis is the drum, and the drum is here. We come from the drum.
okay.
So so the word Guma is actually the sound of a drum that the drum makes. Gum, guma, guma, guma. You know,
Yes.
Goema without the H. We don't try to that. No, that's kind of
Yeah.
a point. You know.
Yeah.
So
And
we taking all the. I'm taking all the different elements of the carnival, like you know, like there used to be guys like you know the Arch Americans. I didn't remember the Arch Americans part of the
yes,
you know
yes,
the
yes.
clubs,
Yes, I
right?
remember another, yes, the Coons.
Right. So yeah. Well, we don't say that
Sorry,
anymore.
sorry, sorry, my bad. Sorry.
Now that's a joke. A bunch of goons. But I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of
No, I just grew up hearing that word. Like I didn't know it was offensive or anything. Yeah.
yeah, no, because it is an offensive word to black people. You know what I mean? You know, because
Okay.
of what we, you know what I mean. But that's why. But it comes the clubs. The word clubs comes from the fucking Dutch, which means
Okay.
basically a club. Clubs means club. You know. So it was different clubs
Okay.
competing for prizes. Then they have these different categories like they
Oh,
have the group, they have the minstrels, the Christmas bands, all the different styles, man. And then the Arch
yeah.
Americans were the most scary of all. They were the ones that dressed like Native Americans, you know, with war bonnets and feathers and paint and devil masks and scared the shit out of the kids, man. When these guys came. So I've tried to recreate all that stuff, you know what I mean, on this album, you know,
Yeah.
like with drums, saxophones,
Yes.
and yeah.
Listen, so like with the music industry, and you've been in it for quite some time, you know, and I'm sure you've heard a couple of stories that I'm about to describe to you now, and just wanting to know if you probably experienced anything close to that. So like a lot of, I would say that our industry is still growing, you know, in terms of like what artists art in terms of artists understanding the importance of a brand, understanding importance of corporate and just how to handle their work, you know. So sometimes they get, I would use the word screwed over because they don't understand how business work or how contracts work. And then next thing you know, you find out you're deep in the end with something and it can actually kind of mess with your head, you know, and just mess with your energy. Like sometimes I've heard where people with their first record label, they sign their name and everything like that, and then along the line they realize that they're not happy with the record label, but now there's nothing that they can do to get their music or whatever because they always be now signed to that label and like keep them kind of like almost like it's almost like keeping their money or keeping the creative work or that kind of thing. Have you experienced anything like that where you have like, wow, I never knew that the industry could actually be this dark and twisted, you know, where it kind of like just showed you a really nasty side, you know, of the industry, and you just learned like, is this actually how things happen? You know, do people actually get away with that kind of thing? Have you had any of those experiences?
Well, when I entered I was aware of the music industry. You know what I mean? I knew what I was getting into when I got into it. Of course, with when you start out recording, people look for the deal, that's going to set them up, and that's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Because if you can sell your own units, like I've been doing all the years, I make sure that I print copies for me, so I can see that cash there. You know what I mean? Instead of relying on the record company, you get all the units are sold, but you're getting like 5 cents per, like shit deals. You know what I mean? That's how they used to get the artists, dangle houses and cars and money in front of them. You know what I mean? Not knowing that's all coming off the thing. So that's why you see a lot of the owns go broke, because they got this stuff dangled in front of them, thinking, I'm rich now. No, those owns are rich because they got the publishing, they own the publishing in that. And that's things that we got to look out for. Publishing, trying to own your own. Look, it's different now. Now we got the internet. We got the internet now. It's different. Selling is taken on a different, but marketing is still the same. Marketing is still very important. It's actually the most important of all things. As my good friend says, it's all like selling a can of beans. We got to apply that principle to anything you sell, as crass as it sounds. But you gotta look at the market that way. If you want to market, you gotta market properly. You know what I mean? And also, those days, I mean, because you see, I haven't got experience with having bad record companies. All the deals that I did were kind of legit. Were legit because I mean I retained my ownership of the songs and stuff. Just a bit like I think I got screwed on the publishing and some of the songs, but I learned about that, So rather form your own publishing company, publish your own music, because publishing takes 60%. Publishing takes 60% of your money. It's a lot of money. That's just for a guy that have a publishing company and publish your music and get it, So that's 60%. But I think the kids today are catching on. They're catching on. You know what I mean? Because there's no more record companies anymore. That's old stuff. You know what I mean? The record companies and labels and stuff. In fact, that's really old school. Nowadays you can do a whole album in a small little space like that with your laptop and a laptop, a keyboard, and there you go. But is it good quality? Of course you can do good quality with it, but nothing beats a real studio. With the piano setup and a section with the drums. Nothing beats that, and that's how we recorded the last album in such a setup at Milestone Studios. So I don't know if I've answered your question, because I don't know where I ended up now.
No, you did. You gave because I asked if any of those kind of things happened to you where you had those bad deals where you kind of got caught up, and you just actually said no, you didn't get caught up because you were well aware of how to make good deals throughout, and you've always been kind of independent, right? And also you've enlightened me on what it's like now today, the fact that people are not really into record labels and that kind of thing. That's very interesting to know, especially like you said, with the internet, especially with the internet being so fast and being so a good tool to use, things have changed a lot. And it's actually very interesting to know in the musical industry that things are changing in that kind of way, we don't need so many parties involved now. You can just do your own thing.
The sad thing is that anybody can download your music now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Things like Spotify and stuff like that. Anybody can download your music. But I don't know. I guess if it's selling units,
Yeah.
Hey, but what? That's why my friend is setting up something like online where we actually do see the money. You see, it's not like big streams, because like anyone can come and download codes. They can go onto the internet. They can download stuff of me and sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
just
that's
say
not
we're living
cool.
in that
Yeah.
where you have things copyrighted and closed, so you can't open it if it's that's what I'm busy working on at the moment. Is getting my stuff protected. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
and my
so that
artwork.
you know do everything like the way it's supposed to be, and not just people like just taking advantage.
Yeah, no, you're
So
right.
can you give me, in your whole experience, can you give me so music has obviously taken you to different places and it's made you so many
Yeah.
different and made you meet different people. Can you give me
Mm.
your top three worst experiences that music has ever introduced you to, and your top three most amazing, life-changing experiences that music has ever introduced you to?
Uh, okay. The top three worst ones.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's get the worst ones out of the way so we can lighten up the mood with the most amazing ones afterwards.
Getting kidnapped at gunpoint.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
dog days. Those were dog days, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Tell us
No,
about it. Tell us about
the thing is this, in the 80s, um, we were kind of wanted by the police. Not wanted, the security police were really after our asses. We were called the gentlemen. We were singing songs about what was happening. We
it.
had
Yes.
already taken some SABC equipment and made a video with it. And that video, you can still get that online. It's called Narrow Escape. One is Narrow Escape, the other one's called The Struggle. You can see it
Okay.
online with the gym. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
We'll try and drop things. We'll try
actually,
and drop
those were
links.
great experiences. Those were great experiences. The worst experience with music, I don't think I've really had worst experience. Oh yeah, there was one night when we were playing in this place, and suddenly these skinheads came in there, and uh, uh, they started causing shit, because it was a punk club, the skinheads came in there and they started holding. I came to the band and I said, you fuckers can't play. And then we started playing, eh? We just started playing, and like we playing faster and faster and faster. And eventually it turned into a whole big fight because it got terrible. It was,
Wow.
chairs and bottles and you know, stuff like that. Oh,
Yeah.
another terrifying one was when I was a youngster, was playing in a group called Big Daddy, and we played at this place called the La Fiesta in Cape Town. It was a real dive, you know what I mean? So as we walked in, we were going to play with a group called the Rockets,
Oh,
the
yes,
Rockets.
yes.
We were kind of opening. We were kind of opening for the Rockets, and
Yeah.
the people, the guys, all came for the Rockets, and we were this funk band that was playing Earth, Wind and Fire covers and stuff like that at the time. We were a really, really, really good band. We were called Big Daddy, and we
Yeah.
carried the as we put the stuff on the stage. We just saw this crowd, man. These guys are standing, looking at swords, like swords, and they shouting, "Spill your tires!" And so we start right away. It didn't give us a chance to set up. You know what I mean? Like we're just like starting there. Some of them were lying on the floor. You know what I mean? It was a hectic crowd. I said, "Whoa, I don't know how we're going to get through this." And of course, we start with Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
We start with. I could see these. This is not going to go down here. This guy comes right back with a big fucking sword and he stands and into the stage. He say, "The cuts, Billy." The number. So the piano player he wanted to fight. He can't fight these ones, man. These guys got fucking swords and choppers and stuff.
Yeah.
And in the jaw, like,
Who
and
goes
then
to a George?
Exactly. I don't know how we landed up at that place. But anyway, luckily we had learned these two songs. The one was called Move Me, and the other one was called uh, what? Something's Burning. I don't remember Something's Burning in the 70s. It was a hit. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Something's burning. Something's burning. I gotta get away. When we started that song, it just cooled everybody down. Everybody started dancing with his swords, man. Hey, they made that singer sing it about 8 times. That was the only song. When we finished, they said, Spillen here. And I lost his voice at times because it's like, you know, one of those songs. Anyway, we got the fuck out of there. And then, yeah. Yeah, well,
Wow.
I mean, that was in the 70s, though, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
some of
your
the
three
worst. A lot. I can't remember it, you know. I can't remember all the worst. I only remember the good times. I've reached the age now where I've deleted a lot of memories on purpose. You know, I've got to make way for pin codes and passwords and music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, now I've got a good memory. I've actually got the best memory of most of the guys, and I can remind them of stuff that they've forgotten about. You know, but now I
Yes,
find that certain memories have to be deleted.
absolutely.
Yeah,
They don't serve you anymore.
yeah. But I mean, when you start talking about it, and when I start having maybe 3 glasses of red wine, and you know, then those things start. Oh, another
They
bad
start,
experience playing music. I was on a ship that sank, man.
Yeah.
You remember the
what?
Oceanus? Remember
Yeah.
the Oceanus that sank off the Coffee Bay coast in '91?
I've heard about it, but please enlighten me.
I was on that ship with my dad. My dad was playing piano. I was playing drums. Gary Creel on bass and Tina Scow on vocals. Anyway, we went. That's the one the ship that Marlowe was on, and Alvin Collison. And anyway, it sank off the coast of Coffee Bay. So that was kind of scary musical experience because the captain left
Please,
first. The captain
let us
left
in.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
the captain left first, and it was quite a traumatic experience, you know, because the entertainment crew actually took over the rescue of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah,
How,
because
how
the
did that
captain left.
happen? He's
Yeah,
like,
the
cheers,
captain.
guys. Going down.
Now
I'm no longer captain. Everyone for himself. Cheers. Rip off the badge and throw it away.
there's some footage on YouTube. It's called the Oceanus. If you want to have a look.
Wow.
Yeah,
Honestly, we need to
Ocean.
get all of these dropped in the comment section. This reminds me of the Titanic. You know, when the Titanic sank and then the band started playing and everything like that. How did you escape that whole experience? How did you get here? Like, how are you sitting here? How did you guys make it out from there? How many survivors were there? You know, did everyone
Everybody,
survive?
everybody
Ah,
survived.
thank God.
Not one person. I mean, we watched that ship go down, man. We watched that ship sink from the
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it happened the night before 7 o'clock, and the next morning 10 o'clock we got off the boat, off the ship.
It must have been a very experience. Wow. And like, and for you to keep something that you've never experienced before, but you are the ones to be like, okay, guys, please calm down. Let's move this way. Let's try and get
Yeah,
off the
but
boat
some
nice and
guys
safely.
had experience, you know. Some of the white guys did have experience with, with not sea
Okay.
rescue, but stuff at sea.
Yes.
I didn't know. Fuck all. I was just interested in just helping people, and yeah, we did assist, you know. Wasn't much I could do, though, you know.
And how old were you
But
at this time?
well, let's see, that was in '91. How many years ago was that? 30 years ago. 30 years ago.
Wow.
It was 30 years ago, so I must have been 30, 51, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Okay. Wow. That's some amazing, some roller coaster experiences that you've had there. Let's get into
That's
the
all
positive
part of
now.
the rich tapestry, all part of the rich tapestry of music, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? You
And I'm
need to be
sure that
such a,
all adds to your music.
of course, exactly. Because, on that thing, I kind of, a lot of us went a bit mad, after that. I turned into a bit of a dreamer after that. I got involved with a dodgy bunch of people, started doing dodgy things after that. And I blame it on the trauma of the other ship. But of course, my wife pulled me back into track, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Made sure. I got to mention my wife. That's my backbone.
absolutely.
She's been my strength
Yes,
through everything. She's the one
yes.
that, growing up with music. It's easy to say. It's easy for me to say that I haven't worked a day in my life, like because of not working for the boss or doing what you love. They say you never work a day in your life if you do what you love. So through all that, my mother wanted me to get a job. My dad was cool. My dad, just saw another musician coming out. My mother said, "No, you got to have a job and you got to fall back on something." So I was going to study. I don't know what I was going to study, but I didn't want to study. I didn't want to study anything like be a doctor or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I went to music college, where I dropped out after 2 or 3 months because I couldn't agree with what they were teaching. It was a classical. My dad was got disappointed, and my mom said, "Well, okay, now you got to get to work." But I was playing and composing. I said,
Yeah.
so anyway, to cut a long story short, my mother and my wife to be came to my first concert that I had, and playing all original music at the Joseph Stone. It was in like '79. They came to this concert, and it was called African Dream. And
Yeah.
Jonathan Butler was on that concert, and Tony Sidras, and Joe Finn, myself, Stephen Erasmus, Brian Erasmus. We were playing original music.
Yeah.
And they came to the concert, and when she saw that, she came to me afterwards. She hugged me. She said, I see. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
I got away. She said,
You have to prove yourself.
yeah. No, and they knew what I was, because I was doing it from small already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she wanted me to get it, to be educated, and that was something I had a different idea of education, and it wasn't going to be institutionalized education. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be
Yeah.
educated like that. Learn from because I'd learned to read and write already. So there's your further education is reading and writing and discovering and traveling. That's the only way you're going to learn. You travel, you meet
Yeah.
other cultures, you learn how to build
Experience.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You have to
all in
experience it.
all, it's been a very wonderful couple of years. Being a professional musician, and it's had its ups and downs, mainly ups. The
Yes.
downs, I don't. Yeah, I don't remember the downside.
Still,
Unless you can call starting up. Hmm?
yeah. I
Sorry,
say we're still waiting for the top
I did
three amazing.
top three amazing moments. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, yep, I do remember. Well, a recent experience was New York. That was in September of 2019. It was my first
Yeah.
trip to the state.
Okay. Lovely.
At the age of 60, I went to New York for the first time. And
Yeah.
then I performed at the place called the Lincoln Center, Jazz at the Lincoln, which is Wynton
Okay.
Marsalis's. Yeah, it's quite a prestigious place. And I did some workshops there at Columbia University and Bath College,
Yeah.
all like really prestigious Ivy League places. And I think that was a real highlight of
Yeah.
them. But my real highlight was when the night, opening night of the opening night, I played the boat. You can see this concert on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Yes,
You can
please.
catch the whole, yeah, you can catch the whole concert. Anyway, so after that, this old woman came up to me and she said, "Ah, that was amazing. I've never heard music like that in my life." I said, "Oh, thank you very much."
Oh,
No, no, no. And then the drummer that played with me from there, Will Calhoun, he came up to me and he said, "Do you know who that was?" I said, "No." And she really liked the music. He said that woman used to hang with Thelonious Monk and those guys, all the jazz guys from those days, from the 50s and 40s, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So I think
Wow.
that was quite a, I mean, she hung with those guys, you know, and she came to me and said
Yeah.
she never, and she hung with Thelonious Monk. Well, then I really felt, that was actually the highlight of my career, was what that old woman said to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's things like that. I don't look for money and
Some
stuff like
and
that.
some of
That's my treasures, you know, to hear things like that. You know what I mean? You're like, you know that you are different. I mean, one knows when one is
yeah.
different. To actually, when someone actually tells you, and someone that's completely, you don't expect them. You don't expect people to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
That was
Yeah. Those are
fun.
yeah. Like even me, like when I get off stage, when people tell me like, oh, they really appreciate all of those things, and that's actually what I think. I'm like, you didn't have to come and tell me that you appreciated all of that. So you
You're
making the
right,
effort,
right?
just come there and tell me what I did today was amazing, and it just affected you in such a positive way. It actually makes you feel really, really good, and that's the reward. Sorry?
Food for the food for the soul.
Absolutely. Yeah. And can you
Another
please
another
sorry, yeah, continue.
another great highlight was when I played at I was artist in residence at the Bird's Eye in Switzerland, which
Okay.
is this big. It was considered one of the top three jazz clubs in Europe, the Bird's Eye, and I've been going there for a couple of years since 2005, and then this one year it was 2008, I think. Yeah, they brought me in as artist in residence,
Yeah.
where I had three concepts going. I had this group of students. They were students at the time. So I got a band together from the music school. I worked with them. We called Iconoclast. There's stuff online on YouTube. Can have a look if you want to see it.
Hmm.
And that was one project. And the other project was called Southeaster, where we kind of melded east, south, where I come from, and then we had a guy from India on tabla, and then Auntie on violin, and Alex van Heerden on accordion and trumpet, and Stefan Koerman on bass. That was another project that was also involved in that artist residency. And then I worked with a choir from there, from the mountains
Yeah.
there that play African, that sing African tunes, songs from Africa in the language, like Senegalese songs. And so my thing was I had to teach them some Mopi's Klopse stuff from here. So that was another
Yeah.
project involved in that, yeah. And I had exhibition at the I forget the name of the place. Anyway, it's a big art. What's that place called? I forgot the name. Oh, that's the name of the gallery. Anyway, I had art exhibition there as well as a performance. So that was all in that time. That was a real highlight.
Yeah. And so, like, can you just tell us, like, I know through art, when we follow our passion, we actually have a really, really high chance of meeting the people that we look up to, and the people that, shaped basically, or the front runners and our pioneers. Can you tell us some of the people that you shared the stage with that we all look up to? For example, like, have you shared the stage with the likes of you, Masikela, and some other old, like you said, Jonathan Butler, some real legends and gems. Can you please explain to us, describe any of those episodes? Do you have any memories of that, sharing the stage with any
Yeah.
of those amazing people? And also, did you have any mentors who kind of like mentored you on your journey?
Yes. Let's start with the mentors. My chief mentor was my father, obviously. I mean, I learned a lot from him, not in terms of physical lessons, but just in terms of, outlook and way of life, spirituality.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Um, and then there was, along the way, I got shaped by um, people like mentorship, people like my other uncles, Richard, my
okay,
dad's eldest brother, was a piano player, Ibrahim, who was Chris Schilder that time. In fact, all the Schilder brothers, they my dad's brothers, they all really kind of mentored me when I was small. And then, of course, there was
yeah,
the friends, and then along the way there was American influence, like Oscar Peterson, Count Basie, Duke Ellington. I grew up with that stuff. Jobim, the Brazilian stuff, Chico
yeah,
Rea, Blood, Sweat and Tears. All there's that time. This is the 60s, and
yeah.
then I met. I was playing in the band Love Supreme with my uncle Ibrahim, and I met um, Russell Herman. I don't see you anymore. Hit the chat. See if you're there. Are you there? Hello. There we go. We're back.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So, with this technical difficulties and the weather and the Wi-Fi kicking out and coming back in, my apologies. Apologies.
That's not your
So,
fault.
I'm so sorry.
Can I
Did you get
pay for the weather?
yeah. Did you get a chance to finish what you were saying?
Um,
Or should we just go on to the next question?
Fresh question.
Oh, you were
Cool.
talking about. We were talking about.
People in your mentors and people that you've met along, people that you share the stage with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when I met Russell Herman.
Yeah.
Just to continue the conversation, an amazing composer from here. He died in London. He produced Becky's album, Becky Mseleku. And then Tony Cedros was also a great mentor to me, piano player. Trevor Parker was the piano player. These were all guys that kind of, Lionel Bukers. So all guys that helped me along my journey, There've been many people that I've shared the stage with, like people like besides Jonathan and Tony, Robbie Jansen, my dad. I can't remember. A lot of people. It's been a long time.
All right, it's okay. It brings me to my last question that I have for you for tonight, and just want to thank you so much again for being patient through all of these weird glitches and also for being a guest tonight. So my last question for you, Mr. Schilder, is that here's this time machine that I have, and for every guest, I put them in this time machine and I take them all the way back to the very, very young Hilton that just started this, when you got a feel of the passion and you just realize, wow, this is something that I actually want to do for the rest of my life. Now I want to take the person who you are today, having learned the lessons that you have learned with all the wisdom. And I'm going to take you in a time machine. I'm going to bring you all the way back to that very, very young Hilton. And you have one piece of advice to leave him with. What would that advice be?
How young? Now, how young am I? Am I 3 years old? Am I 15? Am I 17?
Or take it to the age where you're starting to grasp that this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life and you're trying to make serious moves about it. When it became a serious thing to you and you're like, okay, let me try and eat of this and try and survive of this. When it actually hit you like that, when you weren't just having fun with it, when you're actually like, this one, I want to do this for the rest of my life and it's my passion and it must it must actually take care of me and my family.
When I was in high school. Yeah, when I was in high school. Like matric, what advice? If I got in the time machine and make myself, I mustn't touch myself.
Don't touch it. Hey, no touching. But I want to tell you this.
Don't change anything. Carry on what you're doing. You're on the right path. Just watch out for certain Owens. I'll tell you who the Owens are. But then again, maybe if I hadn't met those Owens, it wouldn't have been so. Okay, I won't give any advice. Except you can carry on with this path. Maybe invest your money a bit more wisely. Actually, fuck that. No, I wouldn't. If I had to live my life over again, I'd do exactly the same. I wouldn't change it for the world. I think it's been quite a unique experience for me, and I know from those bad times I have learned. If you don't learn from your mistakes once, you can learn from it again and again and again. Otherwise, if you don't stop learning from mistakes, you're a fucking idiot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think I would change it. Maybe.
Yeah. You're saying you basically just embrace it all the mistakes, all the good things. It all bumped you or pushed you in some way where it kind of like led you on the right path, where you're at now. Yeah. And it takes a lot of wisdom to actually see things that way, because like people be like, I would change this, I would change that, I would try to do this a bit better or whatever. But you say you're at the point now where
they're not happy with their lives.
Sorry?
People say that are not happy with their lives. They
Yeah.
should have realized that when they were young already. I just wish everybody had that opportunity to pursue their own dreams despite anything. Fuck what mommy and daddy's going to say. You come in this world alone, you're going to leave alone. So you've got to think alone.
Yeah.
You'll pick up friends along the way. You'll find the guys that will try and steer you off the path and that. But your path that you choose and that you want to do, if you stay on it, you are going to succeed in it, no matter what it is, no matter what you
So
want to be.
giving
If you
yourself.
stay on that
Yeah.
particular path, you of course you got to take all the shit that comes with it.
But it's like you said, it's
And
all part
music,
of the.
exactly. Music. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm telling you, I've got a really new respect for, not a new respect, but I've got a great respect for comedians or people that hold up society, a mirror to society, and that speak about that. I mean, you guys are the new philosophers. You know what I mean?
Wow. Thank you, sir.
Definitely. Comedy is not like laughing and falling on your ass and stuff like that. It's about tackling social issues and making it funny so that because people will laugh. If people can laugh and then think about it, that's most of the battle won.
Yes, yes,
Through
yes.
humor. Humor will get you in the end.
Brings us back to basically your advice, what you said, like you're saying, the whole perspective of comedy, we take what's happening, what people's challenges, and we make light of it, and it's like you're
Yeah,
saying now, the advice that you like would you give to the younger you, just make light of it all of these
yeah.
things that you're going to learn, all of these things that you're going to bump your head with, that's just
Yes.
life, and just take what you've learned from it. And if you didn't
And
learn
I
the lesson, just believe it's going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming.
exactly. And if I've learned one thing, that it's no matter what you do and no matter what the consequences are, there's always an alternative way. No matter how far down the line you are, there's always a way out of anything. Unless you
Absolutely.
be a government and do a crevice. Anyway, we all have
But
our nightmares.
yeah, Mr. Hilton Schilder, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure having you here tonight. Like I said, like it has been an honor to get to know you. You're such a big deal in the music industry, and we look forward to more of your music and your magic and your teachings. And thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. Is there anything else that you want to say before I let you go?
Well, yes, I want to say to the people to please take care. Wear a mask, sanitize. I have to say this because it's important. It's important that we actually understand what's happening. We've all lost a lot of. We've lost people close to us. You know what I mean? This thing is not a hoax. It's as the and all I can say is, if you can get vaccinated, get vaccinated. I don't care much for people that are anti-vaxxers. You know what I mean? They should. If something's gonna help you, or do the research on it. Get some ivermectin.
And get some moringa. Don't forget that moringa.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's I'd say just keep safe, everybody, and be well.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hilton Schilder. Thank you so much for being a guest. I've really, really enjoyed you. And I'm sure the people who have tuned in tonight have enjoyed having you too. Like, ladies and gentlemen, like I always say at the end of every interview, please support our guests on their social platforms. It really means a lot. And also, your support turns into money, it monetizes on these social platforms. So it really means a lot when you like and you share or you subscribe to these platforms. So please do us a favor by even just liking once or just one share or one follow. It actually means a thing. So please support him on all of his social platforms and also support me on all of my social platforms. Please, thank you so much, Mr. Schilder. Thank you. I have to let you go now, and may you have a lovely evening further. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, good night.
Bye bye. Good night.
All right. As I was saying, guys, please support us on our social platforms. It really, really means a lot and it helps with the growth of our brands and the show. So you can catch me on Facebook at Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. That is Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. Lunga Tshuka, MC Comedian. And on Instagram, you can catch me at Lunga Tshuka. That's Instagram and Twitter. That's at Lunga Tshuka. Also, you can go to my special page or separate page for the Price of Fame. That is the Price of Fame ZA. That's on Instagram, the Price of Fame ZA. We put all these snippets on there, and you can always catch the link to the full interview, which leads you to my YouTube channel where you should like and subscribe. You watch this interview again, share it with so many people. Watch it one more time, like it, subscribe, comment, have a ball, have a jaw, have a, you know what it is. My name is Lunga Tshuka, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host. This is The Price of Fame. Good night.